All right, Connie, would you like to come up?
Sure.
All right, this is going to be about the shelter for Hoosier Hills Pact, and that's on page 34. This is out of the Riverboat Wage Share. Connie, where are you?
First of all, I'd like to let you know that I'm only working Monday at the shelter now. I'm working at Transition Housing as case manager. So I made that move, but as one of my last projects for the shelter, I asked last year for some funding for our dance project, and you awarded it with $5,000.
15.
The whole 15 is for the dance?
Yeah, we switched it.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. She's the expert on financial end of it. But, so I asked a few contractors and they were available at the time. So currently we have not spent that, but I have a construction company, Robinson Construction, and they're local here, that agreed to do it. And he said in a couple of weeks, maybe the middle of August, that he would be able to start on that project for us.
We've been waiting a long time. Just it seems like with COVID and prices got so high, we didn't think we were going to be able to afford it, but that started to come down a little bit. And so that's why we're just now getting around. I don't know if you guys have been by there lately, but the fence is in pretty bad shape. So it'll be a nice thing to have that completed.
It's a kind of a safety issue as well, and we just think that would come out a little better for our county.
So this year, we tried to, with the money you give us, either put it right back into the shelter building because we appreciate the use of that building so much. But this year, we took a huge cut with one of our grants. We lost $84,000 for the upcoming year. So this year, we're going to ask for the same amount, $15,000, but we're going to probably end up having to use that towards salary and benefits for one of our employees. They're telling us that this dip in funding is just that it's a dip. It's because, of course, of COVID, courts, and the way we get our VOCA money, which is the victim services money, it comes through like big, like Enron and big corporations like that paying fines for wrongdoing. Well, people weren't going to court, so that pot just got depleted. And so now we're on a rebuilding side of it. So they're promising us that this is just a dip. So the money, the $15,000 would be used most likely towards salary and benefits. I've written a couple more grants, and hopefully if we make up the difference, then what we would like to do with the $15,000, we don't have to put it towards salary and benefits to maintain our employees. I'm going to have them put it right back into the shelter by renovating the upstairs bathroom for client use. So that it would be the second priority use of that money if I don't need it for the salary and benefits. I don't know if anybody has any questions.
The salary and benefits, would that be for an employee at the shelter?
At the shelter, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would be most likely probably paid towards our outreach advocate, which is now housed in the shelter as well. And she sees about, I don't know, anywhere from 160 to 250 victims a year, just as a walk-in needs basis there at the shelter, where we do like financial assistance and case management, protective orders, those types of things.
Council, what questions do you have?
I do have a question. I know these grants are nice when you can get them, and then when you're used to getting them and they dry up, it's very frustrating. When will you know for the next grant? You say the money's dried up now. You know, you think it'll be a year or two before you will know whether you'll be able to get things back in sync.
Yeah, so the VOCA grant runs on a 2-year basis. We lost $84,000 for the next 2 years.
Okay.
That we know. And that is what they're calling our 2-year dip. And then they're saying that when I rewrite the grant for, in 2024, that money will be replenished by then.
So you know for a fact you're not going to get anything until at least 2024.
We're not going to get the VOCA grant, any extra money from them until 2024.
That acronym, what's that stand for?
VOCA is the Violence, or Victims of Crime Act.
Victims of Crime.
Yeah, VOCA, the Victims of Crime Act. That's what is our biggest funder for all of our victim services across our 6-county region. So, I mean, it was a huge cut for us. The reason, when I had to write out a position of that, I had to literally just write out a position on that grant to make the budget match. But I wrote out the position at the shelter because having the shelter in the victim position at the shelter, I have a lot more grant opportunities with the shelter. We have emergency housing grants, we have other grants, and I'm in the process of writing those grants, but it may be several months before I know the outcome of those grants.
Yeah.
What sort of funding do you get from IHCDA, the Indiana Housing Community Development Authority?
We get, for our emergency house shelter, we get about $40,000 to $50,000 a year.
Okay.
Just depending, and that covers a lot of the food and general maintenance, keeping air conditioners, utility bills. That pays for most of that kind of thing, which we don't take any salary money out of that ESG grant. We put that all right back into client services.
The rapid rehousing is also on that grant.
Yes.
So that helps a lot of our people in our community who are having problems making their rent. We assist them with being evicted, basically. So I feel like that helps our homeless population somewhat and the community.
And also when we have someone in shelter, then we can use that rapid rehousing money that's tied to the ESG grant. We can use that to help them get permanent housing when they're ready, when they've made that transition to be ready for permanent housing. So,
And it also takes care of some of their utility bills.
yeah, it'll even pay for U-Hauls, any of that kind of deposits, that kind of stuff. So, we do the best we can to keep the grants covered, being written and trying to be self-sufficient. But the $84,000 cut was huge, especially because on the grant cycle prior to that, they had given us a huge bump up. And so then to give us that bump up, we hired additional staff, and now they've cut it way down again. So it's a little disheartening, but anyway.
Well, you all do great work, and it's a really important program that you have.
Thank you.
Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
So other than salaries, what else are you using the VOCA money to cover?
The VOCA money covers salary benefits for all, like I said, the VOCA covers a 6-county region, including Washington. So I have 10 outreach staff, plus myself, plus transitional housing that I pay out of VOCA, the salaries and benefits for about 11 people. And then I also pay rent, utilities in some of our outreach offices. Plus this past grant, we paid for services, transportation costs, auto repairs if they were done as an act of domestic violence, locksmith services to have people's locks changed. It pays for really counseling. It pays for a variety of things. Also food, toiletries for clients who in an emergency situation need food or that type of thing. But unfortunately with the new budget, a lot of those things are going to be eliminated to maintain my fleet or my workers. I'm trying not to cut jobs. That isn't going to help anybody. It's definitely not going to help victims. It's not going to help my employees' families if I have to start eliminating positions. So VOCA kind of made that call for me, and right now they're only funding salaries, benefits, and operating expenses. That's it. So the new grant, that's all I can get. So paper goods, office supplies, we're just going to try to really hang on to what we have because it's not in the budget next year for the VOCA grant. So they really cut us a lot.
Council, any more questions or comments? Commissioners?
How much is your fence?
The fence, the estimate right now is $10,300. But
there's a wide gate that, he priced it for, what is that? 4 foot, yeah, 4 foot gate. And so we're thinking about making that a little bit wider so that we can back up, like if we have to get mulch put in the playground area. So that may be a little bit more, but it wouldn't be a huge amount.
right.
So, but that's the estimate he gave me.
And the fence is going to be the composite, right? So, you know, it's not wooden, it's going to be a composite fence, that way we don't have to
Right.
worry about this in the future.
Would you have a copy of this estimate?
Here's a second one.
Okay.
Hand it out. The thing about the outreach position, now that we've moved all of our, that person into the shelter as well, it's actually like we have an additional shelter employee as well. So she answers the crisis line and can also watch the front while some of our shelter staff take breaks or go to lunch or something like that. So it's also benefited the shelter having her there, because it's just an extra person during the day to help kind of make things flow a little smoother.
Is your food prices going up?
Food prices have gone up dramatically, yeah. They've gone way up, especially like meat and unfortunately, like a lot of our clients, residential clients, aren't, you know, they want the faster kind of quick cook meals, and those have gone up a lot as well.
And then, you know, when someone goes into their own home, we give them food boxes and, you know, we have to give them the staples, and that adds up very quickly. And we have a lot of calls, you know, we're known as the crisis line, and you get all kinds of calls, and a lot of those calls are wanting referrals, but a lot of them are for food. And we have, you know, we haven't been a homeless shelter, just a regular homeless shelter for years and years, over 20 years. But we're still known as a homeless shelter, and people expect things from us. And if we have anything at all to spare, we fix up backpacks with personal care items and food, like snack type, protein, you know, good things for a homeless person to be able to use. And I was keeping a running total on that, and you would just be surprised at how many calls like that we do get.
From the communities from, say,
Yes,
Washington County?
yeah, we only do it for Washington County.
Yeah, the homeless that we serve are only Washington County
Yes.
typically. Now victims from other counties, if they need shelter and we have availability, of course we take them. But we always put priority on Washington County, and then our service area, which includes, you know, the southern Indiana counties that surround Washington, Harrison, Scott, Lawrence, Orange, Crawford. You know, we do take priority to those, and then if we're still having space, then we'll go outside the area sometimes, but.
But, you know, those small items like the food and, you know, just personal care items, you know, that adds up after a bit when you put that together. And, you know, we've been so fortunate in the past to have so many churches and clubs of people to donate to us. And they still do that. I mean, I'm not there as much as I used to be, but that's so helpful to have that support. And I'm a very frugal person. You don't know me, but, you know, we try to make that go where it should go, because you have some people that try to take advantage of the situation.
We have a very good database system that we plug everything into, so we can kind of see when that we might be taking advantage of a little bit by how many times they're coming back. So we do try to track all that the best we can, but I've really told my staff from the beginning, we're not gonna turn people away who need food, whether they meet our actual domestic violence mission or not, we're giving out food. I just don't like the idea of people not having food to eat or children not having
And we
food,
would
so.
offer them the food bank too, and they've always been very generous with our community.
So, anyway.
Thank you all for your time. Council, any other questions?
I have to commend you guys because you come in here and you don't always necessarily have the best of news, but you all never ask for anything more. And you figure out a way to make it work. And I have to commend you guys for that because that's very admirable what you're doing and very humble of you to not ask for more.
It would have
Given
been
the state of the economy, and clearly you all need it.
Yeah.
And I admire you all very much for that.
It would have been really easy this year to come in and ask for a lot more, but I don't, I'll write grants every day of the week if I have to make up the difference. I don't want my communities to suffer or other programs to suffer anymore, just because we're a little bit down on our luck right now, so.
And I think a lot of it, we have to share with our staff because they don't make a lot of money.
Right.
And they have not so good hours, they're 24 hours a day, and they're dedicated. And if they didn't care, and if they didn't put their heart into this job, then,
Yeah.
that's who we'll credit to, I think, a lot of it.
Thank you for what you do.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You have air conditioning and all that,
Huh?
you have air conditioning and all that, doesn't?
We have window units.
Just window units? Yeah, well, we have, every bedroom has an air conditioner, an office, which it does. I guess you would say it does have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Upstairs does now.
Yeah.
Are they on working order?
Most of the time.
That new back office that we took over where the old food pantry used to be, that we now have the back part of that, that's what we use as our outreach office. That room's a little
Yeah,
intensely
that
hot.
very
but-
last room doesn't have any.
Yeah, that room's a little hot, and in fact, I was gonna talk to Connie today about going to get an air conditioning for back.
We do have three. We do have three,
Air conditioners?
yeah. That we took out of this building here.
Really? Okay,
Oh, like extra ones that we could give them?
If they could have them.
okay. Because, yeah, I was just gonna tell her to go buy Laura an air conditioning. With this heat, it's been really difficult to cool that back room.
Well, I think we might have to watch, the non-electric that goes back there, I don't know that.
Yeah, that's right.
But because we lost the refrigerator just recently and everything in it, but now that's not in there, yeah, it couldn't be, I don't know much about the wattage and all that kind of stuff, but it couldn't be a great big one, it would have to
Be like a,
pull, I don't know, it's not pull a lot of,
We got 220 volt, 230.
this 120 would probably be all that would
Yeah.
handle. For sure. Yeah, the
They wouldn't be
120s.
available to you.
okay,
All right.
just contact you,
Just get a hold of you guys or?
Tony or Tony.
okay, yeah, I have time.
All right. All right, well, thank you so much.
Tony's been very helpful. Hi, honey. Are you going to speak? Hi.
I think Connie would be a jury one. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
all.